mascots.
It's crazy to have a Harlem legend. You talking about legendary. He made clothes before I was born and never had a real deal. We're gonna get right into it. All right. First off, it's an honor and a privilege to have one of Harlem legends, one of the best designers that ever come out of New York State, this north side of the world. Dapper Dan, what's going on, brother? It's a pleasure to have you down here. I know some of my family members had a couple of your pieces. Hopefully it was from you and not from a bootleg. But anyway, now, for those who don't know, if they've been living under a rock for the last decades, whatever, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Well, you know, I came up in Harlem, you know, several decades ago, and I'm one of the first to reimagine luxury clothing and, you know, bring it to the hoods. You know, they say that I'm one of the forefathers that introduced the hip-hop culture to the luxury brand culture.
And now, what made you think of putting like luxury into streetwear? What made you think of that?
I always felt like my people, you know, we should have the finer things in life, and I didn't want us to be wearing material that, you know, wasn't for gods. I thought that, you know, we kings and queens, and I always felt like the luxury brands really should have been made for us.
And now, what made you really like go for like Gucci over all other brands? Was it like the fabric was just better or something?
I thought they had outstanding material, and I really always gravitated to Gucci because, you know, ever since I found out that the brothers was fighting and they divided the company up, I figured that I could get in, you know, I get in where I fit in. So I just felt it was an opening there, so that's why I gravitated to Gucci.
Bruh. And we know that Gucci tried to sue you a few times or cease and desist you or get you to stop even doing what you was doing.
I never pay attention to none of that stuff there because for me, you know, fashion is a revolution. Only this revolution will be televised.
Now, we can ask you this. We'll cut this if you don't want to. How you used to get your fabric back in the day?
You know, well, I employed a lot of boosters, you know, a lot of counterfeiters.
I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
A lot of people just you know, a lot of people in the family and people I grew up in Harlem, you know, they knew how to get the threads to me, and I knew what to do with the threads, you know. New York Fashion Week, that feels like my birthday. So every time that comes around, we celebrate.
And now, I'll be reminisced if I didn't ask about the ascot you're wearing. Are you still the only one that wears that, or like?
I'm not sure, but I've been collecting ascots since I was a little kid. You know, I got about 34,000.
Boy, ain't no fucking way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
But in any event, you know, my neck has always been cold, even when I was a child. So I always like to keep my neck covered up. And you know how your parents say, you know, keep that neck covered up. That's why I never hardly caught colds or anything. But I definitely favor ascots in all flavors.
And now everything that you have on, is that Gucci?
All this is Gucci. It's all my design. You know, I'm getting back into the shrink wear. So a lot of my material is going to be shrinking. You're going to see a lot of breasts protruding on women. You're going to see a lot of things going on because I like to keep it sexy. You know, I like to keep it current, sexy, and I like to, you know, go back to the classics. So you're definitely going to see a lot of this material on the runway very soon.
And we see you have like a show or something coming up, or you had one or something?
Yeah, I do about 3 shows a year, but I got a show coming up. It's called Straight Outta Harlem. You know, I just did a show, Harlem is Back, where we was giving out weed. You know, type of stuff, but we was out clothing and weed, but you know, I'm just trying to stay current and fashionable.
Now, before we get you out of here, I gotta ask you this. I heard you had a fashion runway set up in a trap in Harlem.
That was one of my first houses, my first spots. That's actually the spot where Mike Tyson whipped Mitch Green ass. Damn! I was there that night, but that was one of my first little spots where we used to try to merge them 2 worlds together.
And so, did you make that coat for Alpo?
I did make that coat for Alpo. Alpo is one of my best customers. I don't care how you get your money. If you come to Dapper, I'm gonna make you look fly. So, you know, I did that for Alpo. I did that for a lot of the young brothers in the community that was getting to the bag.
Thank you for coming out, Dap. It's always a pleasure to have one of the greats down here, pioneers of this thing. We hope to see a few of your things hit the runway soon.
You're gonna see a lot of, I got a lot of partnerships coming. Gap recently wanted to get down with that, so I do a lot of different things. So you're gonna see a lot of my stuff coming around.
Well, thank you. Dapper Dan.
Thanks for having me. Harlem on the rise.